Don't brag about that.
Oh,
fired up! And we're back, baby. It's a new episode.
It is a new episode. She's out of here. I'm here. I got a great cast of characters with me today, as always. My producer extraordinaire, Joey Clax.
Hey, what's up, pal?
Hey, that's 2 episodes in a row. I introduced you first, just so you know.
I appreciate that. I usually
save you for last.
Age before beauty.
Yes, you are the oldest that comes on the show, including our guests. LA's finest here. Look at that connection. You can actually see his face clear for the first time ever. John Guerrero, welcome to the show, sir.
Well, I apologize for that, but what's up?
I didn't say it was a compliment, but yes, we see you clearly. And tonight, finally, I got someone to talk some basketball and pretty much anything sports I want, because I've been picking his mind at work all the time. Davaughn, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. For those who don't know, this guy on the front line, much respect. It's crazy times out there. We keep talking about it. Me, I'm like halfway on the front line. This guy's fully on the front line. I just play one on TV, basically. Just like John. We work in healthcare, but no, we're not really on the front line. What we really do is we fire people up on this show because no one really cares what I do in my other part of my life. So you know what I want to talk about tonight, guys? Davaughn, James Harden. You asked me today, where is this guy going to end up?
Yes, sir.
I want to ask these other guys first before you and I talk.
Okay.
Clax.
Yeah.
Any teams jump out to you? Do you think you end up on a contender like a Warriors, a Philadelphia, Boston, or do you think maybe they'll end up trading into some scrub team like Charlotte or Sacramento just to send a message?
No, he's going to end up on the Nets because that's where he wants to go. That's where he wants to go, and that's where he's going to end up. That's where I would like to see him go. So that's where he's going to end up. So I can go and see him and KD play. That's final answer, Regis.
I mean, I know he wants to go there. It doesn't look like there's going to be a deal for them. But they
well, the last thing I heard is that they wanted to send what's his face. Kyrie out, and Houston wanted no part of Kyrie because why would they? And
I didn't even hear that. I didn't know that Kyrie was up on the block.
Well, I heard that was what Houston would want as
well. Gotcha.
And then there was people in Houston that didn't want any part of that. So that's stalled out. But it's, to my understanding, it would either be the Nets or the 76ers. I think it's one or the other. I don't think he's going somewhere like the Pistons or it's just not going to happen.
What do you think, John? Do you think that Harden controls it that much that he's going to go one of the teams he wants to go to?
I don't think he controls it that much. I do agree it's going to be one of those teams. I just don't know. It's like right now it's kind of a little bit exciting just to see, because what are the Rockets going to take to get rid of him? And they're kind of like Clark said, they already offered Kyrie. Like, who's going to offer them what they will actually accept to get rid of him? And honestly, I don't know right now.
I know. I told Davaughn earlier who I think it's going to be. But Davaughn, what do you think?
I think I'm going to go with 76ers as my top choice.
Okay. Do you have a second choice?
Either the Nets or the Heat.
Do you think they're going to give up Bam?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Well, who's going to give up what to get him?
Let's see how many minutes he plays tomorrow, and let's see the attitude he brings to. Let's see the attitude that he brings to the floor.
He's not going to play any minutes tomorrow.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, Clax, like you make that actually is like a perfect point, because if he really wants to like force his way out, if he goes out there and does jack squat, like you have to move him.
Yep.
You have to now give up. You have to take the first offer, basically.
With no leverage. You have no leverage.
You have zero leverage, because if he goes out there and he just looks like he really does not care about basketball, you have no choice but to let him go.
That's why I think he's got leverage in it. He doesn't
have. He has no leverage. But he doesn't have no leverage.
Okay.
Yes, that there's a very big distinction. Because here's why. As a player, in all seriousness, as a player, like in James' standpoint, like the best thing that could happen for him is he gets traded for a second round pick. Like, but nobody would be stupid enough to actually take that deal.
Mhm.
But in his mind, like the best thing that could happen is his trade value is awful, and then he's gonna go to a loaded squad. You get what I'm saying?
Yep, totally.
The opposite of what happened with Melo. Melo
Yeah, of course,
forced
because
himself out
you
and they
don't
lost
want
the
to
whole
have.
team.
Of course, you don't want to have to trade for. Cause is he worth 4, 5, 6 players? Yes, because he's a superstar.
Absolutely.
Are you going to get that? No, because he's not going to want to go to a team that depletes the team, because that defeats the purpose of him asking for out.
I agree.
So I would pick, because you guys already picked both Nets and Sixers. So I guess I gotta pick
No,
who
I
John
can tell you
said.
why you're all
I
wrong.
would go Heat.
I'll tell you
I
why.
would go Heat.
Perfect. You're
I
all
think
wrong.
I would go Heat. If I could do it, I would go Heat.
You know
if
what?
I
You
had
know
to
what I
bet,
think is going to happen. I think the Heat would have to. The Heat basically said, we don't even want to give up Tyler Hero in a trade. So, like, what are they going to give up? They're not giving up Bam. They're not giving up Jimmy Butler. What are they going to offer the 3-point guy, Duncan Robinson, and that's like, and some picks. They don't even have picks. So Miami, I don't know how they're going to do it. The Nets, they have a lot of like random pieces, and if it comes down to nothing, then that's what they'll take. I think, like you said, Clax, because that's going to be maybe the best offer still. It might be, but you know what I think is going to be the best offer? Boston Celtics. Boston Celtics have like 400 first-round picks.
Yeah, they probably have the most to give away.
They could trade Kemba right now. You know what I mean? Kemba, a bunch of first-round picks. The salaries almost match, and throw in 1 or 2 bench guys. And you keep like you said earlier, Davaughn. You keep Tatum. You keep Brown, you keep Marcus Smart, and now you throw James Harden in there. You got 4 wing guys.
But out of the out of the 4 teams we just mentioned, 3 of them I'd enjoy watching him play. Then you mentioned Boston. Like that would just be awful. Like there's no need for him to go there.
Oh man,
they could lose. They could get rid of Kemba.
Boston be good at anything.
Exactly.
You think Philadelphia would pull? Like they're not going to trade Ben Simmons for him. They're not going to do it.
Well, that was the one thing I heard also, was that they're absolutely not going to trade Ben Simmons. There was a couple other people they said they weren't going to trade.
Yeah, and him and Embiid. They'll trade anybody else you want, because they got a lot of crappy contracts. They got Tobias Harris. You can have him, but they're not going to be able to trade this. They're not going to be able to. I don't know what they're going to get. Like, I think they might end up getting the best deal from a crappy team like Sacramento or Charlotte, or you know what I mean? Like, if they do, what stops them from making it? You want out? Good. Now you're their problem. Let them figure out how to get you to the Nets. You know what I mean? And that's what I think is going to happen. I think James Harden is in control of the situation, but I don't think he's going to narrate where he goes, kind of like Anthony Davis. I don't know. Davaughn, am I crazy?
No, he doesn't have the leverage Anthony had, because here's the thing, like Anthony was in a contract year. So in a contract year, it's either I trade you or you walk for free. Versus now it's I trade you and you have to accept wherever I send you for the next 2 years.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Because he's got 2 years plus player options. So he's really potentially could be 3 years, if assuming you do a good job, when you acquire him, you're gonna get him there for basically hopefully 3 years in your mind. He's 31, you get 3 years out of him, you get him until he's 34, and you move on from there.
Yeah, you got for 3 more years. I agree. That's what I think.
Yeah, that's ideal, but he can't leverage himself like somebody like Giannis could right now, because Giannis
you just did it. You segued it for me. I was waiting for you to. Someone was going to do it. Joey Clax, I'm going to take right off what Davaughn said. We're going to go to Giannis now, okay? He's in his last year. A team that I think might make a try for Harden is Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
They got assets. I don't know what they don't have draft picks, so that kind of sucks for them. But I want to know, where do you think Giannis is going to be playing next year?
See, I think Giannis goes to Philly
next year.
Yeah.
As a free agent.
Yeah.
And becomes a big 3 with Simmons and Embiid. Oh my God!
Yeah.
So many big athletic people.
Who's gonna shoot?
I don't think Embiid stays there.
Oh damn, that's big.
He's the
big.
guy they should ship out if they're going to ship somebody out. Not.
Well, I thought there was talk of that.
Mhm.
We've talked about that.
Yep. Davaughn, who do you hold on to? Ben Simmons or Embiid? It's a no-brainer to me. It's Ben Simmons 99 out of 100 times, unless Ben Simmons.
This is tough because so I want to clarify because I think right now but you have to keep Ben because Joe can't consistently stay in shape. I mean your best ability is availability. Like if you're not out there, I can't keep you. So I'm better off trading for assets that are actually going to be on the court.
Yep.
Because
and his
you
position is
just have
down out. The big center. He could shoot. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
keep that team athletic. That's what I say. Ben.
Yeah,
all day.
we went pretty hard on Embiid during the playoffs, all of us, about how he just looked like he didn't want to be there, wasn't showing up.
no, and he's one of my favorite players. But like I have to like, in all fairness to the game of basketball, I have to like start being rude to him because he's just
he didn't want to be there.
Yeah, like if you're gonna play like that, like I can't in all fairness to the game of basketball support that you're playing like you really don't want to play.
He had a whole quarter where he didn't step.
You know what I mean? Like even as much as I love the guy, like if you're gonna play like you don't really care about basketball, come on, man. Like
in the playoffs?
In the playoffs, man. He doesn't look like he's ever in shape.
I know. So
it's never a game where he looks like he's in shape.
And he doesn't practice because
you certainly don't build a team around him.
No, and he's a max contract player no matter what. So you can't. That's not the guy.
It's not the guy.
John, where do you think Giannis is going to end up?
Jeez. That actually I didn't think about the 76ers until it was brought up today. That's a good option if they get rid of him, move some things around. What do you still think about him possibly going to the Warriors? Is that a possibility in your head still?
That's what I was just going to say. You took mine right off the bat. But yeah, that's where I think he's going to end up.
That's a big possibility. So I would say those are top two. But sometimes you see these things and you expect, and then he will go somewhere random. But I would say my money's on the Warriors probably right now.
Wow. What about like the Atlanta Hawks, like a team like that? You think he could go to a team like that and just make him a contender instantly? Like go.
I don't think the Hawks are that far. I don't think the Hawks are that far away from being contenders.
That's what I'm saying. You add Giannis, they become a pretty good team. Or what if he goes to the Mavericks?
Young, they had a young good squad. They showed a lot of heart in the playoffs.
Davaughn, what do you think of that?
If he goes to the Mavericks, man, good luck getting a shot off.
Yeah.
You got to get by 7'3" Porzingis, and then you got to meet Giannis in the paint. No thanks.
Yeah.
Because that'd be a hell of a team.
They'd be a force.
That'd be a hell of a team.
With a 6'9" point guard.
Yeah. I mean, good luck getting a shot off because
that's the other team I think is asleep. They have a lot of cap space next year, and they could give them a max contract. And
how do they have cap space?
Because they only are paying two guys, and everyone else is getting like minimum contracts.
Wow.
Yeah, but a lot of young guys.
They're all young, and they got rid of like Seth Curry, who was going to make like $12 million a year, and they sent him to Philly. I think Philly. Is that where he went?
Yeah. I figure those two contracts are ridiculous, but I guess if you only got two of them.
He's still on a rookie contract.
Yeah, Luka's a rookie, man. He's getting nothing. That's why it's so important to draft well.
Yeah.
Draft well, fellas. Draft well.
Can you send them?
I'm looking at you, James Dolan.
Thank you. That's what I was saying. Can you send a memo to the Garden?
Draft well.
What do you think of the Knicks pick this year, Obi Toppin? Like, do you think that guy's going to make a difference? Is he like NBA ready, number one, like everyone keeps saying?
Hey, the Knicks are 500, man. You take it easy. This is the best we're going to be all year right now.
I talked with Ethan at work today about this. It's like the thing about the kid, and I love his talent. Like I really do love his talent. But you're paying Julius Randle at the 4, at his very same position. You're paying him like $20 million.
Yep.
So you have to now play him because you can't justify sitting $20 million on the pine.
Can we go back to the Knicks are paying Julius Randle $20 million? That's like, who the hell
Let
is
me
Julius
double check. I
Randle?
want to make sure I get the numbers right.
It's pretty close. Whatever it is, you're in the ballpark.
even if it's warm.
Yep, 20.7. He's getting
Wow.
20. Yep. So
A year?
that's the thing.
yeah.
So you can't once you pay a guy, you're obligated to play him because you can't justify sitting 20 million on your bench.
He's getting $250,000 a game.
Amen.
Yeah.
Wow.
Amen.
No more. It's
With
a
no ski
72
mask.
game season. It's only a 72 game season this year.
Wow.
It went up.
First
All
ballot
right.
ski mask Hall of Fame.
Wow. Seriously.
Ski mask Hall of
Wow. I like that. All right.
Okay, so what about some of the other rookies? Is my pick for rookie of the year? Who do you think is going to win rookie of the year this year? Davaughn.
Damn, I haven't even thought about it. I'll go James. I'm gonna go James. I like James Wiseman. I think he's in a great position. I mean, he's surrounded by shooters, so all he's gonna do is dunk and get 13, 14 rebounds a game. I like James Wiseman.
The Warriors' new big man.
Yep.
John, you think LaMelo Ball? That's who I pick. You think he's gonna be the stud that everyone says he's gonna be? Because I think he is.
I'm with Davaughn. I need to watch some more preseason games before I put any respectable opinion on that.
Did you see his
Because
stats
it's-
yesterday?
No, so by saying more, I'm gonna say any at all because I haven't watched any at all. So I need to start paying attention.
You think I've watched preseason basketball? I don't even know anyone. I didn't even know it started. I'll be very honest.
The only thing I
I'm
paid
watching
attention
it
to
as we
is
speak.
the THT LeBron hype on THT. That's all I paid attention to so far,
What's
and that's
THT?
really it. Their new player.
Yeah, Talon Horton Tucker.
Oh,
He
I'm
was
sorry.
drafted last year, but
Jesus Christ, Clack! Did you know who THT was? I mean, we don't get paid by the Lakers like you, bro. THT. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Well, I think I think LaMelo is going to average 11 to 12 points a game. I think he's going to average like 9 assists and like 7 rebounds. I think he's going to be a stud, like almost a triple, like a Jason Kidd when he was younger, but flashy like Jason Williams, a little white chocolate. I'm kind of excited to see what he could do. You want to know what the craziest thing? You're speaking of James Wiseman. What do you think of this? All three of you fellas. 100 to 1 odds for the Warriors. I know I brought this up. 100 to 1 odds on the Warriors to win the championship this year. Is that nuts? Am I crazy to think that that's like absurd and not to want to put $20 on?
Go burn your $20. I mean, I'll watch you burn it. It's fine. Just whatever you want to do.
It's one of those bets, like, if you know what I mean, like if I got $20 to burn, like, you know, put in a slot machine, you know, why not?
You think it's the same odds?
You know, worst case, I only burn $20. Best case, I walk away with $2,000. Thanks.
No.
You know, like.
Well, okay, so Clax, before I go in, what do you think of this?
Do you see how excited you are about the 100 to 1? That's why it's 100 to 1.
Gambling Addicts Anonymous.
Yeah. Oh, this could be $2,000. No, it couldn't. It could be $20.
Okay. But here's the thing.
It could be $20 in your pocket right now.
Okay,
You know,
so we got the Lakers. What teams do you have ahead of them right now? Like I'm looking at the list right now, and I would say the Lakers ahead of them.
Yep.
I'd say in the West, the Clippers, maybe, but we'll say the Clippers.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to say Dallas?
No.
Yeah, I would say Dallas. Yes.
I would not.
I wouldn't.
I would not.
I'm just looking at these teams in the West over here. They put the Phoenix Suns ahead of them. I think that's crazy. The Suns are not going to be better than the Warriors.
That's pushing it. Yeah, that's definitely.
You think the Rockets are going to be better than the
No.
Warriors?
No,
Okay.
the Rockets are turmoil.
Right.
We just talked about that. So.
Okay. You think Oklahoma City is going to be better?
Oh God, no.
Okay.
Preston is tanking.
Okay. You think the Blazers are going to be better?
No.
Okay. You think the Utah Jazz are going to be better than the Warriors?
But you know what it is?
And then there's the Denver Nuggets, maybe.
There's no sample size from last season. That's what these numbers are based off of.
I know, but there's a sample size from the last 5 years, and you could kind of know what scheme they're going to run and what they're going to plug and play this year. They got Kelly Oubre, who was really good for the Suns last year. I can tell you that, and he was good for Washington before that. He's a great number 3 or 4 guy, that's for sure. And Wiggins is a 22-point-a-game scorer, first overall pick, to go with Steph Curry and then rookie James Wiseman. And we got Draymond Green still as the glue in that starting lineup. That's solid, man. That's a solid team. Like,
it's a solid
in the West,
team.
they're top 3. They're top 3 in the West.
No,
Lakers and Clippers.
They're not top 3 in the West, but
How many more ahead? I named all the teams, and everyone was like, nope.
I mean, but like you're talking about it, like I think if they played the Suns on any day, one of those teams will win the game. I don't think they're a clear head above.
You just say if the 2 teams play on any given day, someone's going to win a game.
I'm not putting them, but
in
a series, I would take a lot of those other teams.
You take? You take the Suns in a series over the Warriors?
Yeah, I would.
And that's why you're John G. I love you, John.
And I'll put $20 on that.
I would say the only luck that they could have to win it all is they can't match up with the Lakers.
Well, that's it. The Lakers are the favorites. Without a doubt, the Lakers are the favorites, and they're my pick to win the championship. If everyone's healthy and all stays well, I mean, the big 2 stays healthy, they should win the championship, right? We all agree on that?
Oh yeah.
John, obviously
they just don't have a body for LeBron anymore. I mean, Iguodala did about as good as you can do, but they just don't have a body to. Oubre's too little.
Well, I agree. You got to hope that there's an injury. You got to hope that someone else, maybe the Clippers knock him out. Who knows?
I don't hope for injuries, man. I can't.
No. I don't hope for it. I'm not hoping for it, but the Warriors, there's things happen. Look how the Warriors lost with Durant. I mean, things happen. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And I think that is the best bet to make in Vegas. Not 3. I think it's 2.5 to 1 on the Lakers. Like, Clax, that's the bet you're taking?
Yeah, because I'll win $40.
And Ethan, you can't be making bets, man. You haven't even paid up for the Tyson fight. Stop making new bets when you don't pay up on your old bets.
Oh man,
because Mike Tyson.
You know what he's doing?
Mike Tyson lost that fight, right?
That wasn't the bet. That wasn't the bet, and you lost.
What was the bet?
Stop making new bets when you haven't paid up.
I think the bet was that Mike was going to knock him out.
Oh, in 3 rounds. That's right. You're right. I owe you 6 donuts, right?
I think we collectively bet on the Robinson fight too?
No, I don't put donuts on Nate Robinson when he wears blue and orange trunks. You know that. Knicks colors, he was losing. There was no doubt in my mind. What do you think about that Nate Robinson fight, Davaughn?
Oh, Jesus.
And it wasn't the Jake Paul fight. It was the Nate Robinson fight.
He's 5'9", like 110 pounds. Like
wet.
He
tried.
Just because you can play basketball does not mean you can box.
I thought he did some jumping Superman punches or something. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. All right, let's get into some NFL. Clax, you ready to go on this or what?
Sure.
John just adjusted his hat, so he's ready to go.
I know it's 21-14 at the half, just to keep you up to date on Monday Night Football.
And our big donut bet. Cross-country donut bet, folks.
21-14 Browns, by the way.
Wow.
No,
just kidding, Ethan. 21-14 Ravens.
I'm watching it on ESPN right now.
Okay.
Score up there. We're good.
Okay.
Don't you worry.
Okay.
But we'll come back. We'll come back to. Actually, no. While we're here, come on, real quick. You want to hear? I know these guys have been giving me a lot of slack on this show.
Oh God! Now ask the 18th person if you think the Browns are a top 5 team.
Oh no.
Yeah, thank you. End of
Yeah,
conversation. Next.
Thank you. Thank you.
So wait, so the Steelers lose again. If the Browns win this week though against the Ravens and they're 10-3, are they a top 5 team?
Here's the thing. I mean, your record is so different because like it depends on who's on your schedule.
Hey,
But
the last
if you're asking me to name off 5 teams
go.
that I thought would win it all, obviously number 1 is going to be your Chiefs. That I think we can all agree on that.
Yep.
After that, I mean, I think maybe they're at 5. Like if I really just had to count,
I have them at 5. That's where I have them, at number 5.
you know. But
you do. The rest of the world has them at 8
Nope.
or 9 or 10.
Let's see after this week if they beat.
So I mean, so finish your list though. So Chiefs 1. I want to hear who you have in front of them from 2 to
Okay.
4.
Don has some invested interest in this for another reason we'll get to after you make your list.
Oh no, I have. So I'm able to be unbiased. I mean, I can just pick a team, but
So
I mean,
who are your
Chiefs.
top 5? Chiefs.
Chiefs is definitely number 1. If the guys in freaking Buffalo keep playing like that, then they gotta be 2.
Okay.
Because they're playing on both sides of the ball. They play great defense.
I like that.
So
We all
I'd
agree.
have to go Buffalo. I still trust the Saints, even though I shouldn't. And
Yes.
Drew
Nope.
can't throw
I
over.
agree. Those are my 3 top teams right now.
Yeah.
I have them flip-flopped. I got the Saints 2 and Buffalo 3, but okay, I like it.
Yeah.
So before you give your last one, before Browns could be top 5,
Yeah.
want to let you know that there are the Packers left, the Seahawks left, the
Yeah.
Rams left,
The Steelers.
the Steelers, who I don't
Okay.
even count in my top 5.
Oh,
But there's
you blew
four.
the secret.
There's 4 other teams left before I would even consider the Browns.
So here's what I'll tell you about each team. And this is my concern about each team. Because I actually would put a team over them that you didn't mention at all.
Who?
Because I worry about the Packers, and I love Aaron Rodgers to death, man. I think Aaron Rodgers is the second most talented quarterback I've ever seen in my life, and Mahomes is first.
Mhm.
But they have one wide receiver.
Mhm.
Yeah.
When you get to playoffs, teams are not going to let Davaughn catch for 200 yards to win the game.
I
They're
feel the
just
Bucks coming on. I feel a Bucks team
Nope.
coming on. Nope, not the Bucks.
So I can't, in all good faith, pick them to win just because I don't trust who's their second guy if Devontae has a rough night. Or if they just triple team Devontae. Who's the guy that the Packers will
You
guy
got
with the
Butterfingers, MVS, and
Yeah.
then
See what I'm
injured,
saying?
and then
what
injured
I'm saying?
Lazard.
I don't trust that. I just don't. I tell you what, there's a 240-pound man that nobody wants to tackle when you
Yeah.
get into
Yeah.
cold weather.
Yep.
And his name is Derrick Henry. And when you get to cold weather and you got to tackle 240 pounds for
Wait.
60 minutes, I'm taking them over them anyway because they've been there.
What happened last week?
With whom?
The Browns came out and started the game off 38-3, and they smoked them. So you know what? I agree with you. That is a good team, and that good team got beat by the Browns last week to show the Browns are the real deal. That's all I want to know. Continue.
And I would still say in my opinion, I still believe
watching a 2-hour
What listening to over there?
BBC right now,
Something.
like I am.
We could hear you.
that's checking
Something. Sorry.
Calls from his agent right now. Clax,
Yeah.
to call us after the show, okay?
Yeah.
Continue.
I would say I still just trust Tennessee just because they've been there. When you get to the playoffs, it's about being there before. You know what I mean?
Playoffs, though, right?
You know that Tom Brady's not gonna make a mistake in the playoffs because he's done it over and over and over and over and over again. You've seen him do it. We haven't seen Baker in the playoffs yet, so it's hard to say I'm gonna trust this guy.
But you're projecting who's going to win the Super. Like I'm talking about who's the best right now, the top 5 right now. Who's the hottest, most current top 5 list? I got the Browns. They've won what 5, 6 in a row. Has Baker thrown any interceptions tonight?
I would still take you know, Green Bay, and then the Rams just play ridiculous defense. But the Rams and the Browns have the same issue. Like they have good players everywhere, and then you get to quarterback and you go, I don't really want to put any money on Jared Goff. Like, would you bet $100 on Jared Goff? Hell no.
What are the odds? I like the Rams defense a lot.
But their defense is ridiculous.
So like I would bet money on the Rams for their rookies and their running game, and because not that I'm in love with Cooper Kupp like this guy is, but he's pretty solid. And then you got that defense. You've got the best defensive lineman and the best defensive back possibly in the league on the same squad. And that's something to be. I trust that team in the playoffs. They're not in my top 5, but in the playoffs, I trust that. Like you say with the Titans, I trust the Rams. And I like that.
That's just bananas that they're not in your top 5.
The Rams?
That's insane. That's absolutely insane.
I mean, I'm with you now, John. The Steelers jumped out of my top 5. Just so
Hey,
you know.
I saw it just a lot sooner than you did. That's fine. Usually this happens. I understand.
No. But John, didn't I tell you they were sloping downward every week? I kept telling you that too. Even when they were undefeated, I said they're going in the wrong direction. They peaked too soon. They peaked at week 4, and they
just like we said, it was about like you argue against for the Browns, but you argue for. It depends on who we're talking about. It's strength of schedule.
You're about strength of schedule. I don't give a hell. I don't give a who play. You beat the team on the schedule.
You know who didn't slide into the top 5?
Who?
The Browns.
But this week you're gonna.
If I had to name them, they'd probably be like 6. So then I guess I would go Chiefs, Bills, Saints, Rams, and then I still would go at 5. I probably would still feel like the Packers just because I trust their quarterback more than I trust Baker Mayfield.
And then 6. Okay, so
I put them at 6.
Hey, that's close enough to 5 more than these guys. I'll take it, fellas.
It's not in the top 5. That's the question.
It's
on
the other side of the door, though.
Hey, Joe, do you fit into the height-weight scale? Yeah.
I'm just outside.
I'm just outside of it. I'm just
a bit outside.
just not skinny.
Oh man, Jesus! You know who looks like he's not very skinny anymore? It's one of your
Who's
favorite
that?
quarterbacks, Joe.
Who's that?
It's your favorite dad quarterback.
My favorite dad quarterback. Who's my favorite dad quarterback? Vinny Testaverde?
No, who's got the most children?
What's that?
Who's got the most children?
Philip Rivers has the most children.
He's looking a little husky. Have you seen him out there? He's looking a little husky.
They're still winning games, though. They're still winning games.
They are still
That's
winning
what I
games.
was going to say. The Raiders that you guys kept telling me were good, and I kept saying they're not good. They're the worst 6-3 team I've ever seen. They're now 7-6, right where I told you they'd be 8-8 to finish the season. And the Colts are pretty good. Davaughn, are the Colts for real? 9-4? Can you put your money on Philip Rivers?
I'm not putting no money on Philip Rivers, dog.
Never.
I like my money.
No.
But the hard part is like they play such good defense and then they go out there and get slapped by Tennessee. So then I'm like, well, maybe they're not that good. And then, they win another game and you're like, oh, maybe this team is and that's the thing about inexperience, man. When you got like Phillip is experienced, but the rest of that team, I mean, you got a rookie running back in Jonathan Taylor, Marlon Mack is young.
That's
their whole team is young.
JT, Justin Timberlake was always my favorite JT until I drafted Jonathan Taylor in the 9th round in fantasy football. That's my favorite JT. You could have had him 9 times, John. Just so you know,
but,
9 times you passed.
I'm talking about they have a lot of guys. They have a lot of weapons. T.Y.'s coming back who wasn't doing anything all season.
He was
had a great last 2 or 3 games. Yeah, he was. I think he was hurt. A lot more hurt than what was let on, but they have him, they have Hines, they have Wilkins, they have Taylor, they have so many options with such a good defense. You can't really count a team like that out.
And you've been in the playoffs, offensive line and defensive line. They got both sides.
And
Well, they
weapons.
definitely gonna block.
Oh yeah.
If anything, Quentin Nelson gonna throw people out of the club.
You know what team keeps confusing me? It's the team that did the upset special this week. And it's weird because they had the same record, but I felt like the Broncos beating the Panthers was an upset. Did anyone else feel that was like a really big upset for some reason? I don't know why, but
It's an upset anytime the Browns win, yes.
no, the Broncos.
I mean the Broncos, yes. Sorry, we're talking bees. Yeah, no, like suddenly Drew Lock can throw the ball. Like
He
it's
gets hit and like knocked out every game for at least a couple plays. Have you noticed that?
yeah. And they had monster plays. It was just like those Broncos games this season for like the most part, at least the last 4 or 5 weeks are like trap games when you're trying to pick against them. Like they like why like how did they show up and just they looked decent, I guess you could say against a Teddy Bridgewater Panthers, I'll say. So yeah, I was surprised and I was completely wrong about that game.
What do you think? What do you think, Clax?
Everybody keeps forgetting about the Broncos defense. It's retarded. Like they have a really decent defense, top 10 defense, period.
I mean, they won 27. They didn't hold them for like nothing. But...
Okay, but still, the fact of the matter is if Drew Lock goes out there and has any sort of success, nonetheless throws 4 touchdowns, they're going to win football games.
He balled.
You know, it wasn't that big of a shock. Carolina's not that good.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to.
Can we talk about how a top 5 quarterback just cannot seem to get quarterbacks right?
Yeah, I know.
How does that happen? I mean, John Elway is one of the best quarterbacks to ever do it. In the one position he cannot pick right.
He had a red quarterback to win.
Like they have everything else.
Yeah, go figure.
They have literally everything else. Like they've got 2 good running backs. They've got 4 good wide receivers. They got 2 good tight ends. They're okay on the line, not great. They've got a good D line. They've got good linebackers. They've got a good secondary. But yet the one problem that is shooting them in the foot is the one position that a top 5 quarterback is supposed to know how to assess.
And he's missed
some people are better players than coaches. Some people are better coaches than players.
He's a GM that's doing well in all the other positions. It just doesn't make sense.
But that's the thing. He's
saying
literally got 21 out of 22 right. He just can't get quarterback right.
And you think he understands the position and be able to like, assess talent at quarterback. I agree. It's crazy. Brock Osweiler? I mean, come on.
Wow.
Yeah, well.
Who was the last good quarterback for the Broncos?
Timmy Tebow. Timmy Tebow.
It was definitely Peyton, but if you go before Peyton, it's Jay Cutler.
Wow, that's really sad. That's really sad.
That's the above average quarterback at least.
I mean, that's the. I mean, and then in terms of great quarterback, the last one was him.
What about Brian Greasy? Wasn't Brian Greasy a Pro Bowler?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, don't forget about Brian Greasy.
Listen, man, if your history says Brian Greasy is your best quarterback, you're doing pretty bad.
In the last 20 years, yeah, he's your number 3 quarterback. That's not good.
Listen, there's something I'd like to talk about.
What's up?
Let's go.
Juju Schuster.
You forgot a part of his name. You forgot the Smith.
Smith. Juju Smith Schuster. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
What a ding dong, huh? I really wish I could hear Mike Tomlin ripping him apart in the locker room afterwards. Like if you're gonna pull some crap like that, win the game.
Be up by 21 when you do it. Don't do it. I mean, come on.
Just don't do it during warm-ups, man.
No. He's a clown. The Steelers are in trouble. I'm telling you. Their defense is good. Their offense is not that good. Davaughn, am I crazy?
No, not at all, man. They don't have a wide receiver that you can like. If you watched the film yesterday, like when they were re-airing, like the Bills were like running their routes for them. I mean, that if you're like that and you don't have guys that really create a number one, like you have a number one that can really create for himself, Devontae, Julio, AB before he lost his mind, you know, all these guys, if you don't have that, you got to be able to run the ball, and they can't run the ball, and they don't have a number one.
That's a problem.
So that you're not gonna be able to. And in today's NFL, 20 years ago, you could beat a team 10-6. In today's NFL, you can't do that. Like the rules don't allow you to just make it a defensive slugfest all night. Like we're not gonna
pound it
watch.
up the middle.
No,
High formation. Let's
3 yards in a cloud of dust. Like it's just that's not
anymore.
how the game is played anymore.
See, I think the best defense in football, Clax, is the New Orleans Saints. I stand behind it. They've been so solid. They've won 9 in a row, and then they lost this week, like you said they would, to
It's a
Jalen
Philly,
Hurts
dog. Come on,
and
man.
the Philadelphia Eagles. You said this, Clax.
I called that days ahead of time, and I forewarned people of the fact. But against the point spread, no. Philly's going to win the game outright, and then it turned it into a pounding. they just made a mockery of. And you know that Jalen Hurts had over 100 yards rushing.
Sure did.
First rookie to ever debut and have over 100 yards rushing.
This is ridiculous. Hey, did you hear what Philadelphia announced today?
That they still don't know who the starting quarterback is.
No, they announced Jalen Hurts is going to start another week.
Good job.
Not the rest of the season, but at least another week. We'll see how he does. I think Carson Wentz, Davaughn, lost his job, and he's going to be on a different team, or he's going to be sitting on the bench making the most money in the whole league. What do you think?
This is kind of long. All right. So here's my thing with Carson Wentz. And I said this before the Super Bowl, before like Pro Bowl weekend or the weekend before media week, before they won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles, is if Nick wins that game, which obviously history shows they did. If Nick wins that game, you got to let go of Carson, because the only thing that Carson can do to get out of that shadow is to turn around and win the Super Bowl right after that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because if you basically put him in this position where, like, okay, the fans have seen the backup win a Super Bowl with this team.
Mm-hmm.
So if I've seen the backup win, when you come back and you're supposed to be my MVP, as a fan who, do fans really care about the ins and outs of like, oh, so-and-so left and so-and-so got a year?
Absolutely not.
No, they don't care. The only thing they're going to know is the backup won the Super Bowl last year. My quarterback, who's supposed to be better, is now supposed to win me a Super Bowl.
And do I care how much money you're paying?
Nope.
Carson Wentz. I don't care. All I know is Jalen Hurts.
Just win me a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. The way I look at it, I agree with what you're saying to a point, but we have to think about it from the perspective of 3 years ago, right? When this all went down. So 3 years ago, when they won the Super Bowl, Carson Wentz, after, what was it, 12 or 13 games? 13 games he got. He was in the top 2 for MVP that year.
He was top 1.
Okay, top 1.
He was going to win it.
Right. So he led that team. Nick Foles came in. We know what he did. Wins the Super Bowl. Yep. I've been saying since week 1 in this Nick Foles is not a starting quarterback in the NFL. He's not. He's not a starting quarterback in the NFL. At that time, yes, Carson Wentz had an injury. Was it a back injury the first time or a knee? I don't remember which. It was a knee, I think, the first time.
He tore his ACL when he got hurt.
First one was ACL, right? And then he missed the next year with a back. But he tore his ACL. You're like, all right, quarterbacks come back from this. If he's an even top 5 MVP, that's great. So you had to give him a contract at that point. Jared Goff just got his contract. You had to. You couldn't give up on this kid just because he got injured and Nick Foles won the Super Bowl. Now, maybe you can't keep Nick Foles around also because that'll be a conflict of interest in the city. So
they didn't just keep Nick Foles around. There's a statue of Nick Foles outside the stadium. They walk past Nick Foles every day.
But
that's what I want to say. That's what I want to talk about that.
Hold on a second. If I'm standing at the Nick Foles statue and I Google Map the Rocky statue, will Google Maps take me from the Rocky statue to the Nick Foles statue?
It will, and you'll stop at Gino's and Pat's in between.
Awesome.
It's perfect.
Awesome.
No,
right,
but what I want to say about that, like mentally for Wentz, that has to be like, like what I was saying, like that's so he had to come. He got hurt. His backup won the Super Bowl, and then he got hurt again. He has to come back. Then they draft a rookie, his confidence is shot the entire time, which is why we see him playing like he does, like trying to make plays happen when they shouldn't. And that's why his numbers are their numbers. He's playing like a guy who's trying to prove that he was as good as he was then. And that's why he makes so many mistakes. He's like trying to
mistakes
overcompensate.
because he looks at the first read and never looks at anybody else and puts his head down and
Oh,
runs.
so if they didn't draft Wentz or they didn't draft Hurts, Wentz would have had a better season this year. That's
I don't
way.
think it added to his confidence that wasn't very high.
His confidence.
Oh, Carson's confidence. Oh.
You're gonna act like mental isn't part of the football game? Come on, mental is part of everything.
Not for $35 million a year. It's not. I don't want to hear about it.
Look at what Aaron Rodgers is doing.
But he's not Aaron Rodgers.
No, not even close. He
Aaron
doesn't
Rodgers.
even hold his jockstrap.
He's not Aaron Rodgers.
So then, so it's not a comparison. I'm just saying, maybe he's more mentally weak than other quarterbacks, but let's not pretend that doesn't play a factor.
Do you know
that whole Super Bowl win?
Of course. I agree with you on that. I agree that Carson Wentz is shook because of what happened. I agree. But do you think that the Eagles didn't realize that before the draft? It was like, holy crap, we better get someone in here because this guy might not even make it through our season. They knew that going into this year. They're not surprised. We're surprised more. They've been watching him. They knew he wasn't getting better. Do you agree, Davaughn? They're like, we better bring somebody in. Plax?
I'm laughing because I'm wondering if Carson gets shook every time he drives past the Nick Foles statue.
I did not know there was a statue. That's so messed up.
Right, it's Philly. It's Philly. It's Nick Foles and Doug Peterson.
That's awesome.
Statue of them making the call for Philly. Like that's
that's awesome.
It's outside the stadium. Like you can go it really.
And Wentz didn't get any I'm sorry I took you guys most of the way there. Like
no.
I'll just go F myself right now.
Nobody. Does Drew Bledsoe get credit for the first Super Bowl for the Patriots? Hell no. Nobody cares. Who won the game? Nobody cares.
Wow.
Tom won the game. That's what it is, man. I think you make a good point. Both of you guys are actually not wrong because mentally, when you get to that level, you do have to just suck some stuff up, Clax. Like you do.
You do.
He's not wrong, but at the same time, John, you're not wrong either because the reality is if I got to look at this guy who took my job and then I got to think about this every day and the fans are telling me, like we already discussed, like the fans don't care that, oh yeah, so-and-so had a roster change. The only thing they know is this guy won the Super Bowl. You're supposed to be better than him, which means where is your floor? The Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
You can't put that on a 24-year-old and say, hey, go out here and win me a Super Bowl right now.
And then on top of that, like Flax, you mentioned like $35 million or whatever. Like, yeah, but that the money doesn't, you have to separate that he's still a human being. Like you guys worked with celebrities before. They're still human beings. The money doesn't matter. He still has a mind and he's obviously shook.
I hear you, but as an organization, you're not going to not draft a guy because you're concerned about his. Otherwise, you wouldn't put the Nick Foles statue up. And I'm not even joking around about that.
Truth.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That statue is. I'm shook for Carson Wentz because that statue's up.
So does Carson Wentz ever play a game again for the Eagles?
See, now this was my whole point. Is I don't understand why they're still playing Wentz. Why they traded Foles away? Because Foles won a Super Bowl. They put a statue up of the guy outside, which furthers my point of how stupid Philly is. and then you get rid of Foles, you keep Wentz around, and then you draft Hurts. So it would make even more sense if Wentz is actually butthurt and emotionally traumatized, and that played into this.
Well, I thought it was because Foles was going to get paid. It was like a contract or something where he was getting paid more to leave.
Foles was a free agent, yes.
He won the Super Bowl. Did he not deserve a contract?
Yeah, he got it from the Jags. Lasted 3 games.
Yeah.
To your point though, Clax, I think if you play it right, then you almost Ethan. I know you like, dude. You don't think Nick Foles is a starting quarterback, and I think we probably all agree on that. But once you win yourself a Super Bowl,
Oh,
you bought yourself a year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
he bought
You
himself
got at
a
least buy
contract.
yourself a year.
He got himself a
Where
contract.
You know what I mean? And then I think if you say, you know what, I mean, just think about what's my value if I get, let's say hypothetically speaking, my value if I'm just going to trade Carson Wentz coming off that MVP year and I'm going to build around him, what can I get back that year?
Yeah. Yeah. No,
What could I get back that year?
Yep.
Carson Wentz's last film is being an MVP caliber player.
Did you give up that young first, like number 2 overall pick that, like, I don't know, like.
But
And you know what?
you
The
almost
Eagles have
to.
weapons, though. The Eagles have a lot of really great players. Like
They
they're
can't
not
stay healthy.
exactly. They have players that can't stay healthy, but
Oh,
they-
which wide receiver you love over there? You love their wide receiver. Fulgham, is that your boy?
no. Honestly, when Jalen Reagor came back and he's healthy, he looks amazing now.
Yeah. But I mean, even Djak's played one game in 2 seasons
Yeah.
since he's been back.
I
And
forgot.
Miles Sanders had a game the other day. Like when he's healthy, he can cause damage.
Best availability is availability.
Uh-huh. Did you see
Gotta be on the field.
Jamal Adams getting more sacks last week on that team you used to cheer for, the Jets clacks? You saw that?
Yeah, I saw that. It's the most unsacked sack I ever saw, but a sack nonetheless.
I like Jordan. Jordan said, I just don't need to watch the Seahawks. And then they win. I'm like, no, they just need to play the Jets every week.
dude.
Yeah,
I mean,
they just need to play the Jets every week.
come on.
So, Davaughn, Clax has a theory about the Jets right now, and I want to know what you think of this. We've been asking all our guests. Before we get to our final thought, I just want to know what you think about this. So, how does Adam Gase still have a job? Like every other coach that's done what he's done this year has gotten fired. Atlanta, Quinn, Patricia. I mean, there's others that got fired. Romeo Crennel is a head coach somewhere now. Texans. Clax thinks that Adam Gase is working for the team, and he's that bad of a coach that they know if we keep Adam Gase as the head coach, they're going to lose every game. If we fire him and someone else takes over, we might win a game or two and ruin getting the first pick. So he's convinced. Not only is that, and then after the Greg Williams, fiasco, that now it's a full-on conspiracy. What are your thoughts?
I'm convinced he's losing on purpose.
Yeah.
You want me to ask if the Jets are tanking, basically?
No. Like how is Adam Gase still?
Yes.
Your team's a tank, and you get rid of your coach, and you still tank. But like,
No. They're tanking.
Why does Adam Gase still have a job? That's the question.
Because they're tanking.
will he have a job at the end of the season?
We are point shaving.
So,
We are losing on purpose.
Yes.
We are trying to get Trevor Lawrence. I need you to go out there and lose. I'll tell you guys a real quick funny story. So I go to a Suns game, right? And I'm going to a Suns game, and this is the year before Zion gets drafted. And this is when I realized, like, tanking is a real thing. So if you look at DeAndre Ayton's minutes, right? DeAndre Ayton's minutes his rookie season, they seem normal, right? I think it's like 28, 31 minutes, something like that. Nothing crazy, nothing abnormal. This guy I'm sitting next to is actually a family friend of his. And he says, watch this. 6 minutes left in every quarter. 5-6 minutes left in every quarter. We're going to take him out. And before it happens, he's like, we're going to take Ayton out of the game. So mind you, he's the second best player on the team. And I'm taking
one pick.
I am taking the second best player out of the game at the end of the quarter, not the beginning. Well, when is the game won? The game is won at the end, right? Last time I checked, we went at the end, not the beginning.
Absolutely.
We're going to pull our second best player out of the game. So, yeah, he's got his numbers. He's got 20 and 10. And then with 5 minutes left, we're going to pull him so we can have a better chance to do what? Lose. I want Zion Williamson here. That teams tank. It's not a mystery. Like you got to trust your eyes when you're doing some stuff that you're like, dude, this in all likelihood seems like they're trying to lose. Believe yourself.
Okay, so do you think is Adam Gase the head coach for the team next year?
God no. God no.
Fired the last day of the season?
They're gonna go 0-16, and he's gonna get fired on Monday.
And have no, and is he ever a head coach again?
And
Is he even ever a coordinator again?
oh, I mean, not for my team.
All right, John, give me your final thought for this week before we head out of here.
To kind of finish up on that, I think that kind of sucks for like people. Like I hate losing at anything. Like as a player on a team that's tanking.
Oh,
yeah. I was playing like earlier on my phone. I was playing imaginary bowling against a guy that had a name, and I hated that guy when he beat me. Like I hate losing.
What did you
I
feel
hate
like? Well, what did you feel this week in fantasy first round of the playoffs when the
Probably
Gooch beat you this week?
Probably the same way you felt when I beat you a couple weeks back.
Wait, really?
Regardless. What I'm saying is like I kind of would hate to be somebody who cares about and passionate about the sport, and then you're on a team that is tanking. I really hate that idea. Does
$7 to $8 million a year make you hate it a little less?
No,
honestly, I can't I don't know because I don't make that, but I know how competitive I am. And these people have been competitive their entire lives just as much as we were, through sports all growing up. So, I mean, I think, I don't know. I think that has to be a whole other podcast we have to talk about tanking and how players are mentally going through that. And are they cool with it? Or are they not? Do they know that we're going to suck this year and be better next year? Or the guys that are not going to be there next year?
But it's really hard to compare tanking in football, a violent sport, compared to tanking in basketball, which is a finesse sport.
That, like I said, that'll be like a long thing we'll have to talk about. But besides that,
I don't want to talk to you about it then. Okay, keep going. Sorry.
My final thought is that Malcolm Brown, Hollywood Brown, has how many points, Clax? 0.0?
It's Marquise.
All right, Marquise Brown. Sorry.
I believe he has 1.5 points, I believe.
Okay. So I'll be seeing you next Sunday. I got something to wake up for next Sunday. To kick your butt.
It's the start of the second half, but okay.
And are you guys talking about a losers bracket in fantasy football?
No, it's not. It's not the losers.
He's talking about the losers bracket.
It's the winners losers bracket, not the complete losers bracket.
John, you fucking lost, bro, and I had to throw an F-bomb in there because you lost.
The winners losers bracket.
No, yeah, because there's a whole other bracket with six other people.
This guy is losers. He's talking about being a loser in fantasy sports. I can't even do it. He beat me in the regular season. I told him it doesn't matter. Let's see what happens in the playoffs. I got him in the first round, and I gooched him by 40. And I'm like, yo. And he's like, I feel the same way you felt in the regular season. I'm like, no, I was ahead of you in the regular season, even when you beat me, so it didn't matter. So yeah, that's what I would say. Clack, you got a
look.
No more, John. No more. You lost. No more. John, Clax, what's your final thought?
Assorted, preferably glazed. I prefer vanilla more than chocolate. I don't dislike chocolate, but if I had to go A or B, I'd go vanilla. Baltimore up by 8, halfway through the third, and they're driving. That's my final thought.
But they're not driving with Hollywood.
Shut up, loser.
There we go. Davaughn, you have any final thoughts for us this week?
Man, I just appreciate you guys having me on, man. Great talking to you guys.
It's nice having someone who can articulate better than the three of us. It's a beautiful thing, let me tell you. Our buddy, Mr. Fox, who's normally in your seat right there, he's the articulate one of the crew. And when he's not here, we like to try to bring in people that are a little smarter than us. So we succeeded tonight. We did well. Definitely great.
I think he deserved a spot back probably another time.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Absolutely. And we could talk about baseball comes around. We got a lot of baseball to talk soon. John's a big Dodgers fan, and we harassed him for a lot of months in Clayton Kershaw, and we really had to eat some crow on that this year. So I'm excited for baseball. That's my final thought I was about to get to before I tell you to make sure you listen on Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, all 12 other outlets, YouTube, all those good places. But what you need to do is realize the Mets have a new owner, Mr. Steve Cohen. He got us a catcher. We didn't go out and spend the money and waste it on Riamulto. That's right, John. I said we, because I'm joining the squad like you this year. I'm joining my squad. I'm back on board. We, the Mets, are going to have a squad. It's coming. I think Bauer's going to be in our starting rotation with DeGrom, with Thor. Woo! And Marcus Stroman signed a 1-year qualifying deal. It's going to be solid. It's going to be the best starting rotation in all of baseball. And then you know what? Pete Alonso's looking a little less fat right now. He's hibernating polar bear right now. And that's what we need, because he's fat. Pete Alonso wasn't fun to watch last year. So we're going to, slim down a little bit, keep doing those squats. Oh, I can't wait. George Springer in center field, Lindor playing shortstop. Let's go. Let's go.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
Get Springer so I
right.
can hate you even more.
I know.
Get Springer so I can hate you
We
so
just got
much.
an Astros relief pitcher, too. We're going to fire it up, boys. Until next time, fire!